This is the Voice of the Land podcast with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Nick Paulus.
We had some people reach out to us over the last week, and they weren't necessarily fond of our approach to a Browns win, a Browns post-game show after a win. Well, you're not going to get any of that negativity here tonight, especially when we got a guy on the show with the word positive in his name. The Browns win. They utterly destroy the Bears, and Justin Fields. Feel for you, Justin, as an Ohio State fan. Want you to do well. Just not today, and you didn't do well because Myles Garrett is going to be in your nightmares all night long. I would say I feel sorry for you, but I'm a Browns fan. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Hoo, hoo. And with that, welcome on in to another edition of The Voice of the Land, your big play post-game show after every single Browns game. And of course, it is going to be one heck of a show. It is a victory Sunday night leading into a victory Monday. I am one of your hosts, Kevin Arnold. Alongside me, as always, now, always positive, Jay.
Good to be here after an awesome win, man. I am jacked up about that win. It's what we all been waiting for out of that defense, man. They showed up today.
And you had one heck of a day, too, hanging out with Browns fans, too.
Yeah, it was great walking around all the parking lots down there.
We'll get into all of that next week. We will remind everyone of our tailgate segments we're going to have coming up and any of the stories that we have coming into the show. And on the other side of that proverbial glass, our producer extraordinaire, Peter Tillip. How you feeling, Peter?
I'm feeling really good. It was a good weekend for football.
It definitely was.
It was a nice, relaxing win for once. We weren't biting our nails to the end. It was just we coasted at that fourth quarter. It was wonderful.
Didn't matter how close the score looked on the scoreboard. They looked miles ahead. Pun intended, if you want, because Myles Garrett.
Were miles ahead.
Myles Garrett was the reason they were miles ahead.
Ooh, did he
all
have a game
long. 9 sacks for the entire team. Half of those. 9.
Oh, the sack sandwiches were flying all over the place today, buddy. 4.5 from Myles.
A team record today for Myles Garrett. We will break down all the numbers as we get into it, but this is, again, the Voice of the Land. We are partnered with LPV Productions, and here on the Big Play Network, you can always catch us after every Browns game right here on Twitter at VTL_pod or our Facebook page, Voice of the Land, Big Play's Facebook page or YouTube page, and the audio getting posted to all of your major podcast platforms. Hit the subscribe button if you want to re-listen to us or you only want to listen to the audio. It is going to be a fun show for sure, so be sure to catch some of the things you may miss as you're watching the show live or watching on replay. Why not hit that subscribe button? Hit us with a review. What other type of segments do you want to see? Yes, we are still trying to get the call-in line. We haven't gotten that yet. Some, technical problems with that. We're working on it. Don't worry. Leave your comments. Any stream that you're watching, we will catch that here in just a little bit. But got to talk Browns and a whole lot of Browns tonight. Jay, we've already kind of given our reactions, but just as you're watching that game today, there were some question marks about this defense. Questions answered and then some. It doesn't matter. People can say it's the Bears all they want. It's a professional football team with a strong defense on their side too. The offense got a lot of yards, and the defense took care of business this week.
Oh, did they take care of business? Oh, my God. They shut that offense down. Like we said, we're going to get into the stats. But the one that just stands out, 1 passing yard. After all those sacks for negative yards, 1 passing. I've never heard of that before, Kevin.
I've never heard of it either. I mean, you look at Justin Fields' stat line, and then you look at the overall Bears passing yards.
And you're getting sacks. This kid is not just sit in the pocket of quarterback. He's a dynamic runner, and they were running him down. Wow, what a game, man.
It just seemed like, and to be honest, Justin Fields is a running quarterback who can make plays with his legs, and that's why people were concerned, even with it being his first game. We are not yet known for a team in the NFL that takes care of business against rookie quarterbacks. We were the team with the rookie quarterback that had no business being in the NFL at all that the Steelers, the Ravens, even at times the Bengals, and any other good team in the NFL would take care of business and have these types of games against. Now, the shoe is on the other foot, and we got the foot on the gas pedal, and we are just revving that engine to the max.
And I don't even think we've hit our full potential yet. That is the best thing. This defense is going to get better. They're going to get better.
Did you hear Myles after the game?
No, I didn't actually.
He's already talking. I think it was I forget who on Fox they had as their sideline reporter today, but he was the post-game interview, and rightfully so. Team record in sacks. He was talking about how we got to get better at getting takeaways. Like, he's already looking at what they can improve on. Every single post-game interview, Kevin Stefanski, Odell Beckham Jr., Baker Mayfield, every single person that stepped up to the podium. You know what? We love this win. Got a lot of good work in, but there are so many things that we can get better at. And, you know, we're 1-0 this week, and now we turn the page and we're on to next week.
That's why I think last week was perfect for the Browns. They got to win, but from a coach's point of view, they got to yell at them and point out all the mistakes they got to, because it was a humbling win in a way. And they came out and they showed out. Now, we were talking about how Myles Garrett was talking in the media about him and his teammates and stuff, and a little bit disagreement, but he called them out, and he showed up. They showed up, and amazing game by that defensive line today.
I mean, they definitely showed up. And yeah, you have your leader on your defense kind of coming out and calling out his teammates, still taking some accountability for his actions. And he took, like, for what he hasn't been able to get done. I mean, he had that key sack to give the offense an opportunity in Kansas City at the end of that one. But his name, Jadeveon Clowney's name, some of these other guys that we expected a lot out of when they came to this team, hadn't heard their name much in the first two games. Whether they listen to outside noise or not, they're always going to tell you they don't, and everything is in the house in Berea. Whether they listen to it, there was definitely a response, and there was some sort of attention to detail. Kevin Stefanski made sure to make point of practices this week. Baker said the same thing. Odell said the same thing. There was just this certain energy in practice, or this renewed energy and enthusiasm and almost anger, but anger in a good way, not getting guys hurt, but just this motivation and attention to detail by the defense in practice this week. And you're going to need to have that moving forward. If that's what works for this team, keep it going. You know, I don't want to hear we had a good practice 1 week and then I got to wait 3 more weeks for, this good week of practice led to our next great performance. Let's now build on it. And we have all the confidence in the world that they will, because Kevin Stefanski, he loses a game, they come back and they win, and they win.
He don't lose 2
bunches.
in a row.
Doesn't
Ever.
win 2 in a row, but they can string wins together.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's all about what did you do last week? Doesn't always matter going into the next week. How can you improve on that to be even better?
You got to be consistent. We need this performance again next week. And like they said, even better each week. You got to get a little bit better, just a little bit better, like we've been saying all year. Learn from your mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes this early. You're a new team. You got new starters all over this defense, but they're learning. And that's the best sign you could see. They're not making the same mistakes.
We already have comments flying in on Twitter,
All
too.
right.
So millennial_dog, I believe that's Millennial Browns fan. Is that correct? So he's tuning in tonight. It was his son's first game. And
That's what he was telling me.
And what a game to go see for your first one.
You might have to bring him to the next one now, because he might be a good luck charm for that defense.
Yeah, I already saw some fans kind of posting on Twitter, hey, I've been to the first 2 games. Watch out, Minnesota. We're coming. I'm coming for you, because we're 2-0. I'm about to help this team make it 3-0. So fans are jumping on that element as well.
That stadium, you could hear it through the TV.
I mean,
when Myles got his 1 sack, you could hear on offense, Myles Garrett.
And that's the fan base that we know. And that
they're getting rowdier and rowdier, I think, each week.
That's the fan base that, unfortunately, due to COVID, this team playing so well last year missed. But now they're reaping the benefits of being a good team and building on it this year. And the whole world is taking notice. The whole world is taking notice. The whole world has already been on notice because we've had fans all over the world for so long. But, I mean, just being outside the stadium working today, it's a different sound when a good play happens than it was in the past.
Roar, man.
The last time I did this kind of work, the last time I did it, yes, there was a roar, because Browns fans are passionate, but there is something extra that just can't be explained right now. And I think the fans can bring even more as themselves.
Oh, they're just going to get louder as the season goes. The better they get, the better the fans will get.
Yeah, and Millennial Browns fan goes on to say that was one to remember. Myles was top notch, and we're going to be talking Myles all night long. I mean, that's the reason the title of the show tonight.
Justin Fields is having nightmares of Myles tonight.
Yeah,
I mean, he had a hell of a game, but Tack McKinley had a sack. Clowney had 2. They had numerous quarterback hits. That guy was under duress all day long.
And so, of course, our friends Jared Bates and those guys over at Legal Ham to the Face, giving the woo in the chat. I'm not going to. As a wrestling fan,
I don't want to blow anyone's ear out with the woo right now.
No, I'm not going to blow anyone's ear out with the woo. And as a wrestling fan, I watch as many documentaries as I can, and I talk to as many as other wrestling fans as I can. There's a Dark Side of the Ring documentary out that does not put the guy that originated the woo in a very good light. Let's just say for
we'll
certain
just leave
actions.
it at there then.
Yeah. So I'm not going to no names, please. Not to steal anything, to borrow from one of our mentors, Tony Rizzo, but no names, please. No details, please. I'm not going to credit that with the actual action. So
on a different note, what about our guy OBJ today? He looked solid today.
He did. And I think, did he say after the game that his shoulder popped out and popped back in, just like Baker had last week?
I actually missed all the post-game interviews. I took a nap after the game.
I
was done for.
He mentioned that, and a couple of the post-game shows caught on to that. Some didn't, and I didn't get a chance didn't catch it soon enough to go rewind enough and go back, because I wasn't sure if he was talking about Baker, like elaborating or saying, it's always good to get back on the field no matter what happens to you, whether it's, tearing up your knee or popping your shoulder out and back in like Baker did last week. Like if he was referring to that, or he actually got his shoulder popped out and popped back in.
Regardless, this team is tough now, man. You don't see them back in the day when they were terrible. You get a hangnail. They're like, "Oh, I'm out for 4 weeks. Can't play. This just hurts." Like you said, it's so contagious. And now it's the opposite. Now these guys want to go out there like, "Oh, I got a torn meniscus. I'm fine. Just put me in. Oh, my leg snapped. Tape it up. Let's get out there and play another down.
Rub a little dirt on it.
Rub a little dirt on it. It'd be all right.
You're fine."
I'm sure the resident doctor that watches the show is probably cringing with our medical analysis right now.
I bet
it's football.
Cringe during games.
But the point is, they are tough as nails. They are a team that it doesn't matter what their stat line looks like at the end of the game. Nobody went over 100 yards offensively. Baker had 246 yards, not as good of a game completion percentage wise, but still putting the team in the right position, getting him in the right formation time after time, leading the team, being the first one to admit to his teammates when he made a mistake. That miss to Harrison Bryant, when the field goal unit was coming off the field, Harrison Bryant is part of that special teams unit, the blocking unit for the field goal team. And, he's already tapping his chest. My bad, to every single teammate. And he has a special, you can read his lips.
He's holding himself accountable.
Yeah. And when your leader in the most important position in all of sports holds himself that accountable,
team's going to follow suit.
And when they hold you accountable, you're ready to listen. Like, you're going to listen and you're going to play for that person. You're going to play for that coach. You're going to play for that organization. That's why this is the culture we've been looking for. And that's why each and every single win that we get now is even sweeter than the last, because we see what we've been begging for the last 20 plus years.
You got Baker, he's popping his shoulder back in, coming into games. And we're like, today, the defensive line just dominated the other offensive line. And I got to give it to our offense line. We gave up a lot of sacks today, but that's the Bears. They're fantastic at rushing the passer. But man, Kareem Hunt and that offensive line and Nick Chubb just abused them today. And when it came down to later in that game and they started getting tired, they could not stop them.
No.
They just imposed their will on the Bears today.
That's what this team is built to do. They will wear on you. And even if they haven't pulled away, they feel miles away from you. And once that fourth quarter hits, if this team has got a lead, boy, it is so tough to get in the right gap to try to get these guys down. One guy's not bringing them down.
No.
You're going to have to get 2 or 3 guys to bring down Nick
And
Chubb.
even sometimes that
Kareem
don't
Hunt.
work.
Yeah. I mean, look, Kareem Hunt scored a touchdown and broke 3 different tackles. So, we'll break all of those individual plays, our big play and big play player of the game moving forward. And we will look in much deeper into the box score, some of those numbers that you indicated, APJ, on the other side of this break. This is the Big Play Browns postgame show known as the Voice of the Land here on the Big Play Network.
Whether you're looking to hire new talent or start a new career, Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that has helped thousands of job seekers advance in their career with reputable partners throughout Northeastern Ohio. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. With an above-average hire-in rate of 1 in 4 candidates, Vector works hard to connect the right person with the right opportunity the first time. Vector Technical hires for skilled manufacturing and light industrial work and is sure to have a career that you've been looking for. To learn more, visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com.
It's a Browns victory Sunday night, heading into a Browns victory Monday here on the Voice of the Land, your Big Play Browns post-game show. And before the break, we were kind of breaking it all down, talking about indicating some of these numbers. And I throw it to my partner across the table, always positive, Jay. Some of the numbers that are standing out to you in the box score as you look at this game.
I can go through this box score, and it just makes me smile from ear to ear.
I can see the goosebumps on your arms.
I love it, dude. I love it. First one, we're going to start off with first downs. This is not the score. The Bears had 6 to our 26 first downs. We have 20 more first downs. That's incredible. 42 total plays by the Bears, 78 by the Browns. We nearly doubled them in total plays. Like we said, passing yards, 1 to our 203, 9 sacks. Like one thing we got to clean up. We had 7 penalties for 98 yards, but hey, like I said, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to have lessons to learn from them. But that box score is just insane to me.
And the first thing that Coach Stefanski is going to bring up to the team to get better next week, he's going to point to that last stat you just said.
Exactly.
7 penalties.
There's a reason I put it in there.
There's a reason why
there's always something you can learn from.
What has this team been as Stefanski has really gotten his hands tried to help drive this culture? It has been discipline. The one thing that has always hurt the Browns in every single game, even when they had a chance, when we always said, well, at least they gave it a shot. At least they gave it a fighting shot. It was those moral victories for us as Browns fans. But one of those big numbers that always stood out, 13 penalties for 105 yards, 15 penalties.
Too many holding penalties. Those drive me insane.
So that is going to be the one sticking point. And guess what? The players are going to listen and they're going to correct it.
So everyone always worrying about the Browns defense. If everyone's just driving, it feels like we're just driving down the field and gathering all these yards. Today, the Browns had a total of 418 yards. Do you know what the Bears had? 47 yards. They didn't even crack a total of 100 yards for the entire game.
Are you sure that wasn't just a Montgomery run of 47 yards?
The longest play was a pass interference. That was not a pass interference in the first place.
Oh, my.
I got to watch myself because I'm going to end up swearing. I was so mad at him. I'm like, he brushed his back, and all he did is lift his arms up and catch the ball.
And
that was the worst call. I don't understand what that dude was thinking. He was standing right there.
There's not a coincidence that our Voice of the Land Twitter page at VTL_pod, hit that follow button for us, by the way. There's no coincidence that we sent out our last clip of the week after that play happened, talking about the referees and this being a no fun league.
Oh, these refs are so bad, man.
I'm not going to dwell on it because we won.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get,
I'm going to give it to them when they deserve it. That was a terrible call. I'm still mad about it.
I don't want to get drugged down and all that stuff, but I'll say this. Wide receivers, the reason why offenses have even more success nowadays is because some of the rules are geared towards them. How many times do you see wide receivers and big-time wide receivers have that much contact when they're going up to high point of football?
Exactly. That's why they throw that up, though, because chances are either you're going to get incomplete or you're going to get a penalty called on you. But here's the best part about that, Kevin. What did they score after the big play like that?
3 points.
Yeah. Back in the day, this would have got them, oh, woozy us. Here we go again. Touchdown. and then it all starts all over, and then they score another one off on one over. Nope. We just shut them down, held them a field goal, probably came back and scored again.
And
this is not the same old Browns, as my buddy says.
What's funny is Jared messaged us in Twitter saying, have you guys talked about that BS PI call yet?
Yeah.
Yes, we're talking about it now.
Screaming about it, basically, and trying to not blow out everyone's eardrums today.
I'm sorry. Basically, it was the ref saying, I'm sorry, Bears. I'm sorry that John Johnson III ran a better route than Allen Robinson.
You can also just hit Baker Mayfield in the head. That's not a penalty in our league. For all 31 other starting quarterbacks, you can't touch them, but you could just punch Baker in the face, and they're like, it's a flag. Never mind. We don't really like him. It's not a flag. We're just gonna pick that up. Suck it up, boy.
See, I saw that. I saw that in person. I didn't think that he really got hit that hard.
No, he didn't.
But here's the thing. You're right. Every other quarterback gets that call.
Oh, every time, man. If that's Tom Brady, they might throw 2 flags.
I think they just give him 10 points.
Yeah, they're like, all right, we're just going to credit the Buccaneers with 20 more points. Don't touch Tom Brady. He's our poster child.
It's funny because we were showing each other memes before the show, and one with Ben Roethlisberger
falling right on his face.
Yeah, one falling on his face, and then
eating dirt.
The washed-up quarterback in the league, and it's just 3 pictures of Burrow, Baker, and Lamar all pointing, but they're all geared in this 4-corner format, and they're all end up pointing towards the picture of Big Ben.
Who's the worst quarterback in the
in
our division? Yeah, that was a good one.
But
it's always great seeing Pittsburgh lose today. It's just Browns win, Pittsburgh lose. I'm good.
I know, but you were talking about how if it's anybody else outside of Baker, you've seen the memes Baker got hit in the head. Oh well, in retrospect, we're gonna pick up this flag because Baker Mayfield needs to be talked about and polarizing still in the national media. So we're not going to give him a good play here. Sorry, picking up this flag and continue.
I don't know.
Yeah, the disrespect is there, but it doesn't matter. You know why?
We still win
because the scoreboard said 26-6. You know who had 6? The lowly Chicago Bears. You know who had 26? Our beloved Cleveland Browns, and we are loving every minute of it.
Oh, it's great. It's just great.
Now, some of the other, stats that don't go noticed, you got DPJ making big plays. He only had 2 catches, less than 40 yards, but making the crew when it comes.
That back shoulder catch was one hell of a catch. That is so hard to do. I can't describe it. That is one of the hardest catches you can make.
The image of him catching that ball in Cincinnati just replays in my head over and over again. That's the kind of talent that's there. That's the kind of talent that Jim Harbaugh just pushed to the side and just completely buried under rocks at the school up north. And that's the kind of depth that we have too. It doesn't matter who it is. These guys have the ability.
They're not worried about their numbers. They're worried about one number. Getting another W. That's the only one they want. Just keep stacking those W's.
Everybody loves to say OBJ cares about his numbers. You know what he cared about for today's game?
A win
and going home, because he said it after the game. He didn't have his legs. He couldn't catch that next win. You always get that first win.
He'll get it. For coming back, he played awesome. Is he 100% yet? No. But
have you guys heard LeBron talk about he gets through that first win and then comes out
your second win, and
get to that second win, and
keep going. I know exactly what he's talking about.
OBJ couldn't get that second win where he felt like he could keep going. But
I can't get that anymore either. But I'm not an athlete playing for Browns.
How about that catch?
I can't even get my first win.
It was out of bounds, but that amazing catch that he made on the sideline.
That was a hell of a catch. He just missed him out of
I know. Sideline. That was just.
I
can't believe he came up with it. That was just amazing.
Higgins, I think both his catches, both first downs. You may only get 2 catches, but those are key plays, man. Everybody's contributing. Everybody feels part of this team, and it's amazing.
Yeah, you can see, you get the amazing catches. You can get the long bomb touchdown runs or throws from your quarterback to wide receivers. But what really does the opposing team in is putting drives together, getting first downs, 26 first downs to 6 on the other side. That you don't see that often at all in an offense-driven, passing driven league that is the NFL.
You could just see how tired Chicago was at the end of that game. That defense was spent.
And you got guys like Roquan Smith. You got Khalil Mack. I know he was in and out of that game.
Yeah, that guy scares me every single time he's on the field.
Because he's a Myles Garrett. And at any point he can strike. At any point he can strike. And it could be like one of those plays on defense that is so crucial to just driving the team the rest of the way.
Let's not ride Jedrick Wills for giving up sacks today. He was playing hurt and he was playing against just probably maybe one of the best pass rushers in this outside pass rusher in the league.
They're trying
the top 3.
They're trying to piece it all together right now. And guys are playing hurt and you got to play through nicks and bruises and things. If you want to reach the mountaintop, it's not going to be all lollipops and candy.
There's a difference between hurt and injured.
Right.
You play hurt. You can't play injured.
Yeah. And if guys are injured, I don't want them playing through that. I don't want them sacrificing that much because health is always the most important. And that's why, even in a game, you look at Kansas City, they're 1-2 now. They lose on the last 30 seconds. Justin Herbert throws a touchdown pass. They lose 30-24. They're 1-2, could be 0-3. But then you catch reality, like a dose of reality in terms of health. Andy Reid taken to the hospital. It was said to be precautionary measures, but he felt extremely ill after that game. I know Jeff Darlington of ESPN reached out to sources close to Coach Andy Reid.
Thoughts and prayers to him and his family.
They said he was in good spirits. They were taking him as a precautionary measure. It was kind of, people didn't know as soon as the story started to break, but you don't like that. Those are the kind of things that kind of bring you back to reality for a second. So, all the best, like we said, to a future Hall of Famer and overall good dude and Coach Andy Reid. But
amazing coach. Yeah, we might have been a growing rivalry, but there's something that's bigger than sports.
Yeah. There's things that are bigger than sports. It's the sports that kind of help, kind of take our mind off of those things for a little bit. And our escape today was the Browns beating the Bears. I got to ask you though, Jay, in this game, Browns win. We're all excited. Who gets your big play of the game and big play player of the game?
My big play player of the game, it's got to be Myles Garrett. 4.5 sacks. Was chasing that dude all around all day. I think he had 6 QB hits on top of that. Just outstanding game, career game for him. But my big play of the game was the 35-yard touchdown run by Kareem Hunt. That put the nail in the coffin. There was no looking back from that. I think it just broke their back after he made that nice long run there, breaking tackles left and right.
Yeah, because you were only up 1 score, 1 possession.
Yep.
So the Bears could keep looking at the scoreboard and feel some sort of confidence. That just seemed to take all the air out. When they started doing shots at their bench, boy, there was just nobody looked like they wanted to be anywhere near there. Like they looked deflated.
I could have given the big player. My Kareem Hunt gets my honorable mention today.
Absolutely.
He was those screen passes were just awesome, and he could follow his blocks so good and patient with them. And the second they get on their guy, boom, he hits another. He just accelerates and he goes right past him. I love Kareem Hunt. He's such an awesome runner.
Peter,
I'd have to say I'm just still so impressed with the defense. The sacks today. I mean, it was great to see them come alive. Jake and I were talking before. It's like, wow, it's like the Buckeyes last night. Yesterday, yeah, they were playing Akron, but maybe that's what the Buckeyes needed because their defense came alive. The Browns
game.
Yeah. The defense for the Browns came alive. But you're right about Hunt. I think, they were trying to run up the middle at the beginning of the game. Wasn't really working. And they're like, hey, the screen pass. And those were great. I mean, it was just, the Bears, committed to trying to stop the run up the middle. So it's just toss it out a little bit. And
they used their strength against them.
Yeah.
So when they're blitzing like that and bringing that pressure, they just let them right pass and throw it right over.
Oh, exactly.
And see you later, guys.
And Hunt, he's just such a great tool out of the backfield. He catches the ball and then he just the yards after. Do you even know what his yards after catch were today?
Yards after catch, I'm not sure. He had 6 for 74 receiving, and then running he was 10
balanced.
for 81 for an average of 8.1. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's great.
You can't. That's a first down. Hand it off to him twice. Boom, first down.
One of the things I wanted to talk about real quick is you were talking about, the you might only get a receiver on the Browns now might only get 2 catches, but they're the right plays when we need them. And I kind of wonder how much that goes to Chubb and Hunt in the backfield, because you look at two running backs that should be number ones on pretty much any team, and the way that those guys work together, and you don't hear any like bickering about not getting enough touches, they're in it for the W.
They support each other.
They support each other, and I think that attitude is really kind of permeating the culture of
totally.
So, and
it's such a great team culture there now. Like the Browns are a team culture. Like I gotta take a second. Let me think about that.
I know. There's so few things. Like there's so many things that kind of still astonish us because of what we knew before this new regime. like screenplays. When did you see a Browns team in the past have success at screens of anything? They try to do a bubble screen to a wide receiver, and that would lose like 7 yards.
Success of anything, so no.
But
to your point, also what I love is everyone's always like, "Oh, running backs don't have a great shelf life." These two are extending each other's careers dramatically.
Oh yeah,
and wait to the end of the year when everyone else is number one running back like Derrick Henry's. His legs are getting tired. Our guys are gonna be fresh and ready to roll.
And that's the key part. And I think you bring up an excellent point there. Just the camaraderie just in that room with two guys that should be promoted as number ones and kind of faces that people should look at, not just here in Cleveland, but nationwide, because how big fantasy football is. Two guys that you kind of want on your team because they can do so much. Kareem Hunt out of the backfield running today. Chubb can do the same thing. Then while there is only one football and one guy to throw it or get it into the hands of those kind of playmakers, when you do it right and you have the right culture.
Say it again. Say it again.
When you do it right and you have the right culture, it can feel like multiple footballs all over the field. Just like when a shooter in basketball gets hot, it feels like that hoop is wide open. This culture makes all these guys feel like at any point the ball is going to come to them and they are confident enough to make the play, and their quarterback is
how these running backs, they help each other.
Yeah.
That goes to look at all the positions. These defensive the line, they're all helping each other. That offensive line, they're all best buddies. They all teach each other, even the young guys. The receivers. Last week, Odell was not playing. What was he doing? He's on the sideline coaching the young guys, Schwartz and whatnot. This week, or all week, I heard Landry has been there just helping all the younger receivers getting their routes done and whatever. They're all in it for each other, not themselves. And when you got that, that is a dangerous thing for other teams, because when you're playing for each other, you're unstoppable.
And they don't feel like they have done anything yet this season, and they feel like there is still miles ahead of them to get where they really want to be as a football team and in the groove and the chemistry, the consistency they expect out of each other. They aren't there yet. They are driven for that. Boy, that's another dangerous element moving forward for opposing teams. And we will talk about the next opposing team a little later on. We do need to get around the NFL here on the other side of this break. But if you want that Voice of the Land gear, we got just where to find it. Inside this break, this is the Voice of the Land, Big Plays Browns postgame show on the Big Play Network.
Are you struggling to hire the right talent or maybe even find the right career? Vector Technical makes it easy. Since 1992, Vector has provided Ohio employers with a reliable process for hiring and have helped thousands of job seekers advance in their careers. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. We invest time to get to know each client and candidate personally. Vector places people in job opportunities that they are truly excited about. Interested in learning more? Visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com to see a full list of our current job opportunities and to find out what Vector Technical can offer you.
Get your gear at voiceoftheland.com/shop.
Welcome on back inside the Voice of the Land. Kevin Arnold alongside Always Positive Jay and Peter Tellup. And it is time to go around the league here on our Browns post-game show. And we will start inside the AFC North, where it matters most. AFC North title is something that this Browns team is going after this season. So we actually had our first matchup of two AFC North teams. The Bengals went into Pittsburgh and beat up on the Steelers 24-10. The Bengals now are 2-1. The Steelers are 1-2.
The Steelers are 1-2. Just wanted to say
The
that
Steelers
again.
are 1-2.
That's a great thing.
Jamar Chase with a big touchdown catch, 33-yard touchdown catch.
Remember everyone said he couldn't catch
Burrow.
the ball? Yeah, he can catch the ball.
Did you see the catch?
That was a hell of a catch, man.
It was at his fingertips. He had to reach out. It went
Full
over his
speed.
shoulder.
Over his shoulder, fingertip catch.
I was dropping to his knees and still picked that up. Everybody
I
knew.
mean, good luck doing it against Denzel Ward, but you
Yeah.
can do that against Steelers all you want.
Yeah, they're just like their quarterback. Their defensive backs are probably washed too. We got to have a little bit of fun. We're having all of this kind of fun on a Sunday night after the Browns win. And then, of course, the Ravens went into Detroit. They beat the Lions 19-17 on a record-setting field goal kick. We thought that Chase McLaughlin was going to have the longest field goal kick of the day. Kudos to him, by the way. Like under the radar or honorable mention player of the game. I didn't really give any, but still an honorable mention for me. 57 and 52-yard field goal a day.
As I like to call him, Justin Mother Tucker
Yes.
kicks another one.
6 yards for the Ravens did Justin Tucker.
I can't stand him, but if I had hats off, brother. That is a hell of a kick to win a game, man.
I would, but it's going to make a whole bunch of sounds that people are going to blow out people's ears if I try to rip these headphones off in the hat at the same time. So I will give the imaginary tip of the cap to you, Justin Tucker, and thank you for the fantasy points again. Thank you.
I also have him as kicker, but no one cares.
Yeah, no one cares about it. No one cares about our fantasy teams. That's why we don't really touch on it here. Going around some of the other scores, the surprising one that we kind of talked about, we mentioned already, Chargers beating the Chiefs, dropping the Chiefs to 1-2. Chargers 2-1 now on the season.
That's huge for us because we want the home field advantage. We don't want to go to Kansas City again. That place is a little too loud for me.
And that two teams having different records, I mean, that takes that tiebreaker element out of it. You're only going to play the Chiefs once. Of course, the Chargers will get them twice, but to go into Arrowhead and get that win, that's huge for a second-year guy in Justin Herbert, who, of course, beat the rookie touchdown passing record last year, and looking to expand on it this year. Chargers are a good team in the AFC.
Oh, the Chargers are very good.
That's going to be
another good team. Bills showed up today.
Oh, they did.
And Josh Allen, he's back on track. I think he had 5 total touchdowns, 4 throwing and 358 yards, beating Washington 43-21 today. I sat him in my fantasy league.
Did you?
I thought Washington's defense was going to do something good,
Mm-hmm.
but I jinxed Justin Fields by starting him, so you guys are welcome.
Well,
I have the worst luck, so I was like,
I don't worry.
Put the double whammy on.
Whatever your luck is and worst luck is in fantasy, double that for me. So it's been every single year.
No one cares about fantasy when the Browns are winning. No one cares. What a fantasy.
I was actually on the phone with a buddy on the way here, and we said the same thing because I was working all day, so I actually missed. I had Delvin Cook in one of my leagues, and I was like, "Hey, the fantasy commissioner, can you just let him know I don't have his contact right now? Can you let him know I'm sorry I didn't take Dalvin Cook out?" Because in some leagues, guys get really upset when you don't take care of your actives and inactives and change your lineup properly. And if you just get a 0 and someone else gets a negative or whatever, people that are really digging deep into fantasy. So I said, I apologize for it, whatever.
You were not setting up the lineup guy.
The one time I did,
Kevin,
hey,
that is fantasy blasphemy.
I got a good excuse though, man. I'm on that grind. I'm trying to get a job, man. I'm trying to do this for a while.
You're lucky you're a good guy. I think I'll let you off the hook.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, even though you're not in the league. So yeah it didn't even
I
affect you
don't
anyways. But I was talking to him as I was still driving here. We kind of got into the Browns game, and we were talking about fantasy overall. Like we're ones that don't really have a lot of luck, but this year it doesn't concern us as much because that used to distract me from what I had to watch with the Browns. Now fantasy's just like icing on the top of the cake if I can get to it or not. Browns are pretty much going to make me enjoy my Sunday anyways. And that's the best feeling of them all. Getting back to that Bills game though, we talked about the Steelers and getting beat today. Remember the Steelers beat the Bills and went into Buffalo to beat them. look at the trajectory. The words are hard, but oh so fun. At least I didn't forget my own name, but that's okay. I'm not going to get into where that came from. I'll talk to you guys after off air. That's not on air. But the Bills have been demolishing people in front of them. The Steelers are just
falling to the wayside. It seems like
they're falling on something. They're falling on their faces.
Yeah, he
Literally.
definitely fell on his face today. That was very nice. He was eating dirt.
And no, he didn't even get touched. So
no, he fell on his own. Big slob.
Any of these other scores that as we're kind of looking at ESPN here, any of these other scores that stand out to you?
Minnesota dumping 30 on Seattle, beating them 30-17.
Sorry,
our
sis.
next opponent.
Sorry.
Hopefully that was not a get right game for them. And they didn't even have their best player in Dalvin Cook today, like you said.
And we'll get into the numbers on that one a little bit more on the other side because we're going to look ahead to the Browns' next opponent, the Minnesota Vikings. Kevin Stefanski going back to Minnesota for this one next week, Sunday, 1 o'clock. So we'll break that one down a little bit more. I mean, I guess if I'm looking through this list, I mean, congrats, Falcons. You find in the garbage can game of the week.
Oh, yeah, the prison inmate game of the week. That was, no one watched that.
You got your first win of the year. Saints all over the Patriots, 28-13. AFC South division.
I don't think the Patriots are as tough as everyone. I think they get more credit because Bill Belichick, but
I mean,
if we played them in the playoffs, I wouldn't be scared at all.
I don't really feel bad. I don't usually feel bad for Alabama players because they, no matter if they do.
I can't stand Alabama. I can't. I want nothing
either.
to do with Mac Jones.
It doesn't matter if they do well in the league or not. They're always going to still be like a focal point in the public eye because they did so well at Alabama. There's like a small 0.01% of me that feels bad for Mac Jones because he's being put in the category of Tom Brady. Tom Brady was a 6th round pick, 199 overall, that turned into the greatest of all time. Mac Jones was a 1st round, 15th overall that everyone touted as the next Tom Brady. You never want to be the next someone.
No, you don't even want to replace that guy. You want to replace the guy who replaced him. So at least he gets to replace Cam Newton.
Yeah, but it's the next.
He's got some huge shoes to fill though, and they're putting some high expectations on that kid.
They all thought he was the perfect fit because he looks like Tom Brady.
I'll never feel bad for anything Patriots.
No,
ever. I appreciate them taking out the Steelers in all those playoff years, like I said. But I also still can't stand them at the same time.
I don't really feel bad for Boston or New York fans or even Chicago fans for that matter, because if one team is bad, like you've got other championships within the last decade.
Well, let's just be real.
At one point,
it's
we
Cleveland
didn't have
against the world. I don't care about any other teams, to be honest with you. I hate them all.
That's very true. But it's especially the cities that have multiple teams.
Oh, my God.
And they've won.
Spoiled fans.
They've won championships in recent years. They've only gone what? Like, oh, my gosh, we haven't won a championship in 3 years. We didn't win a championship for 50-plus years, okay? So get off my lawn. Yeah, I'll be that guy. Get off my lawn. Cleveland against the world all day, every day. There's really no other games that stand out. Tonight's Sunday night game that's just about to kick off, Packers and 49ers. That should be a good one. I mean, I think the Packers might be hurting a little defensively injury-wise, but and then the Panthers beat the Texans on Thursday night. Monday Night Football will be Eagles and Cowboys. So the drudge of the league, the NFC East.
Tampa Bay lost today. The Rams, that hype looks real right now. I wasn't sure where Matthew Stafford was going to come and what that was going to look like. They look like the truth. And they're going to be tough to beat out there.
He's always been a good quarterback, but he's been
stuck in Detroit, who no one wants to be stuck in Detroit for any team, baseball, basketball, or football.
As bad as our teams may have been, at least I only had one thing I could say that
we're not Detroit.
We're not Detroit. So it's good to see Stafford kind of having that success, a guy that I know a lot of people have always kind of rooted for. I knew he would be good there. I think the question marks for them were going to be their defense and losing those pieces. And we have two of the key ones here in John Johnson and Troy Hill. It's that defense. But when you got Aaron Donald,
he just wreaks havoc. When he comes right up the middle, what are you going to do?
I mean, we were watching the game before we came on air, and a simple little bubble screen, he's getting out in the flat and just blowing up the play.
That's why he's the best defense player in the league right now.
Yeah, it's going to take more games like today.
And they got the best corner in Jalen Ramsey.
They do. They do. It's going to take more games like Myles had today
Mm-hmm.
to overtake. But we all know that Myles is on that defensive player of the year track. Now let's back it up next week, which we will get to on the other side of this break. We will look ahead and kind of go around the sports scene in Cleveland, Ohio, and the state of Ohio briefly as we finish out this Browns postgame show. A lot of fun to go around and tease a special segment that we will have, a couple special segments we will have next week on the show. That is all next here on the Voice of the Land, your Big Play Browns postgame show.
Are you looking for a career in manufacturing? Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that is partnered with some of the biggest and the best companies throughout Northeastern Ohio. The recruiters at Vector Technical will coach you through the entire job process and will help you land an opportunity that you are truly excited about. Vector does not add any additional fees and offers benefits as well as free online skills training through Penn Foster. To learn more, visit www.vectortechnicalinc.com and make sure to check out our job board to see a full list of our current opportunities and apply.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Voice of the Land, your Big Play Browns post-game show. And we need to look ahead. So getting back into our Browns conversation, feeling good. We're going to give it 24 hours. We're going to enjoy our victory Monday, but we don't get to talk until after the Browns play again next Sunday. So we kind of need to put our future hats on here, kind of push ourselves to our Tuesday mindset. And once we get off air, we'll go back to our Victory Sunday and Victory Monday night, Victory Monday type atmosphere. But looking ahead to the Minnesota Vikings, you mentioned the score, and that was the one that stood out to you. Sorry, sis, that Seattle lost. I'm sorry, not sorry. I don't know how much easier I can put that for you. So, but Minnesota does get the win, and Minnesota's been close in the first couple of games, so they're not a pushover team. I heard
by any means. I mean, they're no Super Bowl contender in my eyes, but they're a professional team for sure, and they got playmakers all over on offense.
And Kirk Cousins has been playing well to start the year.
Well, I think he's a very underrated quarterback. I don't think he's Pro Bowl caliber, but I think he's a solid quarterback for sure.
I mean,
today, 323 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's a damn good job there.
Yeah, and look on the other side for Russell Wilson, almost 300 yards himself, 23 of 32, but only the 1 touchdown. I think the Vikings were up 21-17 at halftime. They added a field goal. They took almost 9 minutes off the third quarter clock. So they can also possess the ball. If you want to keep the Browns offense off the field, who can hit you slow or hit you with a big play up over the top, the way to do that is what we thought the Browns were going to do against Kansas City. The offense has got to control the ball. Well, Minnesota proved to you today they can control even without Dalvin Cook.
Alexander Morrison, 26 for 112 with a 4.3 average. He's a solid back, man. I mean, you guys could take out these household names, but running backs can be plugged in. So when you see a running back out, don't think you're going to take a huge dip on these other teams. This guy came in and did a hell of a job, but they have a hell of a duo of receivers out there. The young receiver, Justin Jefferson, is a stud in the making.
Mm-hmm.
And Adam Thielen, he's just been doing his thing for years now. He's just a solid receiver, consistent every year.
Yeah, I'm looking at their offensive stats today. You mentioned Madison, that 26 carries for 112 yards. Amir Abdullah, only 5 for 24. Receiving, Justin Jefferson. Oh boy, words are getting even harder. I don't care though. The Browns won. Jefferson with 9 catches, 118 yards, really coming into his own as a big time wide receiver here in the league.
Looks like the best receiver of his draft class.
He does. I mean, Adam Thielen only had 6 for 50, but we talked about how
he had a touchdown though.
Had a touchdown, made the key plays. We talk about our receivers not only get 2 catches, but they're 2 big plays every single time. When they make a play, it's a big play. When Adam Thielen makes a play, it's going to be a big play. You can hold him to, I guess 50 yards like Seattle did today, but he still found the end zone. He's that kind of guy. He's going to find his spots, and now he can just play off of Justin Jefferson, just like he used to with Stephon Diggs. Like when Thielen and Diggs were going, like that was a dynamic duo. If Jefferson and Thielen can find that similar kind of back and forth chemistry, Minnesota is going to be a tough team, and they're a tough team already. That just makes them even tougher if they really get on the same page in that wide receiver room.
I mean, that offense could pour some points on at any given point. It's their defense that looks a little more sketchy these days, but they held Seattle and Russell Wilson to 17 points, so they could show up when they want to.
I mean, DK Metcalf did go off for Seattle today, but the big play guy for them has been Tyler Lockett. Vikings defense held Tyler Lockett to 4 catches, 31 yards, and a long of 15. So he had 1 catch for 15. The rest amounted to 16. So that is a defense that also schemes well. And yeah, Kevin Stefanski knows that team. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, he knows what they're doing over there. They're probably doing the same thing. So we got that inside guy when they're going through their game plan this week. Yeah, that's true. But the Minnesota Vikings also know what Kevin Stefanski likes to do because he did it well calling plays for them. That's why he earned an opportunity to interview twice for this Browns coaching job and earned it this time.
Plus, we're playing there, man. It's never easy to play on the road.
And you're playing in...
They get that giant horn thing going and the crowd gets fired up and stuff.
An indoor stadium, too. So they have a rowdy crowd out there in Minnesota, and you get that into the indoor element. That just the sound coming down to the field. We saw how our crowd impacted the Bears and even the Texans last week. We saw some false start penalties, things like that. The Browns are going to have to be ready for that because they're not going to have this quiet crowd, offense at work type mentality.
You got to score quick, take that crowd right out of the game. And I just want to see this defensive line do what they did today. And we didn't even mention the rookie, Jeremiah Rusu-Koroma. Hell of a game today. Yeah, kid's learning more and more and getting better every week.
You took the words out of my mouth.
He was flying around.
2 segments too late, but my big player of the game, if it's not going to be Myles, because you already said Myles, next for me was JOK. JOK showing this coaching staff why they were excited that he was still there in the second round and why at linebacker, yes, he might be slight of frame, but why you need him on the field. Somehow, some way, you need him in your defense because he's going to go make that play.
I think he's going to be the new type of linebackers. You're going to see a change. He's going to be one of those players that's going to change that position. They're going to see him flying around. Yep. And I'm like, well, I kind of want one of those linebackers on my team.
He's the kind of guy that's going to make the play that some of your linebackers haven't been even willing to make the last couple seasons.
They just couldn't because they couldn't get there fast enough. This guy flies, man.
Yeah, he's everywhere. I mean, he really is.
He takes off while Anthony Walker is out. And when Anthony Walker comes back, that leader in that locker room.
You better pick it up, buddy, because that kid's coming.
You may not hear the name Taki again, except on.
Don't let him see your backup
coverage. You can't let him see your backup. JOK is coming for it, and he has the right mentality. Head down. He's going to make his mistakes. He's a rookie. People will freak out when he does. And yeah, we're kind of maybe even freaking out or overreacting somewhat to the Vikings getting their first win of the season, but they beat a really good team in Seattle, and they've played close games all year. So don't think that Minnesota's a pushover. But what is the one key for the Browns to get the win in Minnesota?
Same thing they did today. You got to dominate the trenches. The offensive line's got to get the push, get that running game going, which is going to open up the passing game. And the defensive line, like I said, be consistent. Do it. You don't have to have 9 sacks. That's probably not going to happen.
No,
we'll settle for 8. No, you got to beat them, man. And those trenches. When you win down there, you're just going to dominate the game. And like I said, show them how tough our team is and impose our will on them again.
Well, I was ever sitting in this chair last week, right here. That guy probably would have said, well, the standard is now 9, so I'm going to need not 10. If you don't get 10, I'm not going to be happy, Sorry, guys. I had to give it a little dose of reality. I didn't like what I saw from the defense last week.
That's why we're so excited today.
Yeah.
Last week, it was a win. But it was like, where's this defense we've been talking about? And today they showed up. It was awesome.
And it didn't just leave you wanting more. It left you like unsatisfied to the nth degree.
Don't take it as negative.
No.
We have such high expectations for this team for once. And we've never had this. It's like I said, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
What do we do here? Like, I'm so confused as a fan some days. Like,
You want to see the spin control right here?
yeah.
You know what we did last week? We pumped that team up. They watched the voice of the land. They listened to the
Exactly.
voice of the land. If the Browns can listen to the voice of the land, why not you? You follow us, VTL_pod. Let's go. The Browns are listening to us and they're reacting. We're getting in their skin, just like I got under Paulus' skin all the time by going Coach Kev mode. I helped add that Coach Kev mentality to Coach Stefanski.
We're playing the good cop, bad cop
Yeah.
role. He yells and I'm like, oh, it's okay, guys. We'll be all right.
Yeah, you gotta have that every
Kevin
now and
will
again.
knock you back down. I'll pick you back up.
Peter, you got a key to the game next week to reel us back in here.
Well, let's see. Should I go with the throwback of? Do we just need to score more points?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, it was great. Emmett said, what was going to be an acceptable performance by the defense? I said, well, they just got to hold the Browns to less points or hold the Bears to less points than the Browns. And everyone's like, oh, man, you're just breaking it down again.
just break down the analysis. We're just going to, you know what we're going to do? At some point, we're just going to have a piece of one of these segments, and we're just going to turn the camera on Jay, and we're just going to have him do all his breakdowns. All his
It's
breakdowns.
the John Madden breakdowns. Captain,
boom. Score more points to the other team. Boom.
You guys got me rolling. We're totally off track today, but we're
But it's
having
a fun night.
Oh,
The
we're
Browns
having
won.
fun.
Like this is the feeling that you want on a victory Sunday night, going into Victory Monday. Even though I got to be at work at 6 a.m., I don't care.
Oh, and when you wake up after, like, you want to wake up, hurry up, get you ready so you can watch Sports Center and see all the highlights of them talking how awesome our Browns are and stuff.
I'm trying to figure out a way I can, incorporate some of that Browns gear into my uniform at work tomorrow. Like those are the fun days and what helps you get through. If you got,
We got more and more fun days coming, man.
yeah, this is just the start. You got, we've played 3 now and we got 14 left. Yeah, we won't have all of them being 14 victory Sunday nights or victory Mondays, but a lot more than less. That's for sure. I mean, for next week, the key is build on what you did this week. Did you have a get right game? I want to see that. Not only for the Browns, I want to see that for the Buckeyes. 2 different levels of competition that you faced. The Browns did it against an NFL team. We know that the Bears aren't the best, and it's going to take maybe a minute for Justin Fields to really hone in, but they have a good defense that will keep them in a lot of games. You beat a really good professional football team today. The Buckeyes, they wrote that check, and they whipped that last night against Akron.
Poor Akron Zips.
But
they got paid, but man, they got beat down.
But some way, somehow, you have to have those get-right games. When you are the more talented team, you have the better scheme. You have the better culture. You better get that get-right game no matter who it's against. So we better see the same thing from both of these teams going forward. And that kind of starts me going around Ohio and some of the storylines. You can't really break down an Ohio State-Akron game, especially when they beat them up that bad. Akron's there for the check. Let's be honest. Those smaller schools are there for the check. That defense looked pretty similar, though. The Buckeye defense looked pretty similar, though, on the first drive. They got right. Can they stay right?
You can hope so. I mean, I guess they're trying a whole new defense out. They're changed their defense up. So hopefully,
man to zone, I think.
Yeah, hopefully they just pick it up. That was a great game to, like, if you're going to switch, you switch on Akron. You don't switch on no one else better than that.
Right.
I mean,
so
because you're getting game reps practicing a new scheme. Like you've gone through
the
all
game reps are the best you can get for learning something.
And that's why Odell Beckham Jr. is only going to get better from here because he's going to have that second win coming up because he finally got those actual game reps. I forget who mentioned it in the post-game press conferences, but I think it might have been Baker. He said, in practice, Odell doesn't have to go chasing down the running back or chasing down someone that catches a pick or, having to, if they're in a hurry up offense, kind of keep that going. They have it scripted. It's all planned out at practice. In a game rep, you got to be on time, on target with every little thing. At some point, again, you got to get right. And if it takes for Ohio State, if it takes a game like Akron and basically a glorified scrimmage against another opponent that is schemed against you, to learn this new defense after you've learned man all off season, good. If it takes a game like this from this Browns defense and any other messages that were put out in the media, good. Let's see it again. Let's back it up. Back up what you did one week with the next. Take it to the next level.
Got to be consistent. It's the name of the game.
Have to be consistent. Now, a couple other things.
Consistency. Before we forget, our kicker. We
Oh.
haven't said a word about him.
I did.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, I got caught up in all excitement. Perfect, man. I'm loving this guy right now.
I put him under the bus a little bit because I lumped him in with Justin Tucker. So, in the 66-yard field goal.
Where you have a 57-yarder, perfect
57,
for field goals, perfect from extra points. This guy's
Mhm.
coming in doing a hell of a job, man.
Yeah, Paulus always used to say, never trust a kicker. Well, we might be able to change that mentality. One game, do it just like everybody
Well,
else.
with kickers,
Do
that's
it
how
again.
it goes. Kickers, once you get going, man,
Yeah.
they get a confidence on them. It's like they just don't miss. They feel good about themselves. They don't have no doubt in their mind.
Let's take
It's
it
all mental with kickers.
take it from one to the next. From
Consistency.
on to the next.
Keep
as they
going.
was-
Keep going.
Yep,
Keep going.
consistency. Pittsburgh is now 1-2, just so that you guys got reminded of that. Just wanted
Pittsburgh
to-
lost. Pittsburgh lost. Pittsburgh lost.
Consistency. Pittsburgh lost.
Mhm.
No, I'm not going to bore people with that. But around the rest of the city, Cavs have their media day tomorrow. So training camp is kicking off. Young team. We'll get into maybe some expectations as we get closer to the season. Yeah, we'll still be talking Browns, and that'll be the main focus. We will kind of get in some of our expectations once we get closer to actual tip-off. Preseason, we won't focus on at all. As the basketball fan, I'm going to tell you, these Browns post-game shows, we will not focus on basketball preseason at all.
Yeah, I don't want to focus on preseason for basketball. I'm good.
Or at least
Like, I love my Cavs, but preseason basketball is as boring as it gets. It's worse than even NFL preseason.
or at least I'm going to duct tape the basketball side of me so that I don't say anything. So you guys got to hold me accountable on this show. We're all
I
one
love
group.
basketball too, so I mean,
Yeah. So it's hard for me not to, but I won't. Trust me, I won't. This is Brown centric. This is football centric. The other team in the city, the Cleveland Indians, they are wrapping up their season. They have one more home game where they are known as the Cleveland Indians coming tomorrow, a makeup game against the Kansas City Royals. And then they go on the road for the final 6 before the name transition happens. No, I'm not saying the name. Don't you guys even dare say it into these microphones right now. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to.
You know I'm half tempted to just say it right now. Look, Jay, don't hit the red button. I'm like,
I saw you out of the corner of my eye. I
Guardians.
all right.
Sorry. Clearing
If
my
I,
throat.
could, if I could jump across this table right now, I have no energy nor
Hey, I'm getting over an injury. Leave me alone. You can't attack people on the IR.
But I just at least I want to acknowledge the history of the Cleveland Indians and let everybody know that next week we do have a couple cool segments planned. One, of course, we mentioned it last week, Jay. You got a chance to go and talk to some different
I went
tailgates.
down, interviewed 3 different new tailgaters, made some amazing people. They're so great down there. I love my Browns.
A lot of good food.
Oh, the food. You just wait till
Yeah, I
how
know.
much brisket this one guy smoked. I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to tune in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome. Great
Next-
time. A lot of walking. My legs are like jello, but yes, it was an awesome time. Met some great tailgaters.
Yeah, and always a good time around fellow Browns fans. So we will have that first segment kind of shedding light on the various tailgates, some of the tailgates you may not even know of in spots you don't usually
My
go
goal, it's like everyone knows the Muni Lot. It's very well known, like I
Yeah.
said, but
Yes,
there
it
are
is.
so many awesome other tailgate areas, and I'm going to show them all. Of course, I'm going to go to the Muni Lot, but I'm going to Burke Lake. I'm going to the Pit, to West Third, everywhere. And we're going to show them all off and show how good of tailgating
Yeah.
scene we got in Cleveland. But you're going to have to watch them on the YouTube page. So subscribe to that when you get a chance.
Yep. So we will have all more details next week, and we'll have our first tailgate segment from Always Positive Jay next week. But also next week, win or lose for the Browns, I guess, or draw, because there is still that ability, and win, lose, or draw. Not as much as people that hate soccer would say, but win or lose for the Browns next week. We are going to open the show with just a special acknowledgement and PSA on the Indians and for all Indians fans. So if you Love your baseball here in Cleveland. Be sure to tune into that along with all of our great Browns and NFL breakdown here on the Browns postgame show. But that does wrap it up for this edition of that Browns postgame show on the Big Play Network. That is the voice of the land. For my partner, my brother, always positive Jay, our producer extraordinaire, Peter Tullup. I'm Kevin on reminding all of you, enjoy your victory Sunday night and Monday. Don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game, and we love you all 3,000. And one final time, here we go, Brownies, here we go. Hoo, hoo.